Okay, welcome to AS Maths and welcome to a tutorial on completing the square, which is what we're going to be doing today. So completing the square is essentially taking a quadratic. So I've got a basic one here where I've just used B and C instead of numbers, and we're going to be converting it into the completed square form, which is one that has the brackets and the squared. So you can see here we've got x plus p squared plus q. So the x plus p squared can actually be called a perfect square. But if we expanded that, it would not give us this back. So we've added or subtracted q to try and get an equivalent form. So essentially all you're trying to do today is work out what p is and what q is. So I've got two examples here. Now this tutorial is sticking with x squared, so there's no coefficient in front of x squared, so it's just 1, and in the next tutorial we'll look at how to deal with questions that have a number in front of the x squared. So essentially we just want to change this to be something or rather squared. So we need to come up with what p would be. And so how do we do that? Well, we have the coefficient of the x, so in this case it's 6. So all you have to do is halve 6. Now the 6 is positive, so when we halve it, we're going to get positive 3. If it was negative, we would have got negative 3. Now if we just take x plus 3 squared for a sec, so x plus 3 squared is the same as x plus 3 times x plus 3, and if we expand that, so x times x is x squared, 3 times 3x, and then finally 3 times 3 is 9. So if we simplify that, we've got x squared, 3x plus 3x is 6x, we get plus 9. So this is good. We've got x squared plus 6x here. This bit's cool, because that's what we wanted, x squared plus 6x. But we didn't want plus 9, we wanted minus 2, so that becomes the next thing that we need to work out. So we don't want the 9, so we're going to be subtracting 9. So in practice, all I need you to remember is that you're going to subtract 3 squared. Okay, so whatever that number is, you're going to subtract it squared, which is minus 9, which helps negate what was going on here. And then finally, you're going to simply get rid of, keep that minus 2 coming down. So you've got minus 2 here. So we can then simplify that, x plus 3 squared minus 11. And you're done. So in this case, the p was 3 and q was minus 11. So if we just look at that question that we did over here, when I expanded it, if I added in a minus 2, a minus 11, you can see that that would go back to our original expression, x squared plus 6x. 9 minus 11 is minus 2, and that's what we wanted. Okay, so let's try and do the same thing, but let's do it with a different problem. Now I've chosen this question because it's got an odd number here, and it's got a minus. Okay, so those are two things we haven't encountered. So let's see what happens when we work with those ones. So you're still doing the same thing. We still want to put it in brackets, squared. We're still going to halve the minus 7. So half of minus 7 is minus 3.5. I'm going to read that. And our next step was to subtract that number squared. Always subtract. The reason being is that minus 3.5 squared is actually positive 12.25. Okay, so two negative numbers multiplied together give a positive. So we need to undo that. We need to get rid of that. So we get minus, in this case it's 12.25. And then lastly, we need to pop that down. The plus 3 still stays there. And so then we tidy it up. X minus 3.5 squared, and we've got minus 9.25. And you're done. Okay, so we've had a go at doing two questions here. That's all for today. You are welcome to have a look at the next tutorial, which looks at what we do if there is a number in front of the x squared. Thanks for listening.